Good morning, good Tuesday morning to you, and welcome to Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. I am your host, Margie Curry, and today's session is with our certified yoga instructor. That's Becca Impello, who has been teaching and practicing yoga for over 20 years. We want to remind you that AARP empowers people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization that has over 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate for those 50 plus and their families. AARP is committed to offering the opportunities for you to stay busy and to stay active within your own home. The Mindful Movement series provides an opportunity for you to keep moving in the safety of your own home. Hey, Becca, how are you today?
Good
morning,
cool this
morning?
Huh?
Are you staying cool this morning?
I'm trying to. We got another heat wave coming, don't we?
Yeah, we got a heat wave coming today.
Yeah, we do. You know, that little bit of cool weather we had was what they call false.
Nice, but it didn't last.
It was a false fall, not the real fall, but the false fall.
Right.
Yeah, well, today I thought we would work on balance. It's been a while, I think, since we did a session where we focused on our physical balance. So we'll do some stuff that'll involve the feet, kind of getting those platforms that we stand on ready, and a little more in our brain. And then we'll also use some different things to challenge our balance. And I'll be giving some choices. So not everybody will necessarily want to do all these the exact same way. So just to let our listeners know up front, as always, but especially today, you're going to be making choices about what's the best way to challenge your balance, and I'll be giving you lots of options.
Very good. We always need to work on our balance. That's something very, very much needed as we age. Folks, remember that before you begin any program, that you speak with your physician to see if it is safe for you to participate. We don't want anybody getting hurt. And hold on. All right, Becca, let's get started.
Okay, great. Well, we are going to start seated in our chair like we usually do. We're going to get a few things moving and grooving for the whole body. And then, like I mentioned, we're going to do some specific kind of warm up for the feet, which is, just good for our feet and ankles, but also will just sort of help establish a little more or stronger connection between our brain, our nervous system's awareness, and our feet and ankle responsiveness, which will come into play when we get up on our feet in a few moments and we start challenging our balance. We'll also have that chair with us when we do those standing balance activities, and some of us may want to have that chair close by so that we can hold on. Others may be able to, move a little further away from the chair. That'll be one of the things that you get to sort of choose and make decisions about for yourself. All right, so let's start by sitting up tall in the chair, dropping the arms down at the sides, and let's take a few deep breaths. Inhale and reach those arms out and up. Exhale, arms back down. And you just raise those arms as high as feels comfortable for you. Exhale, all the way out. Let's do 3 more big breaths. Two more. One more time, big breath in. Good. Now see if you can breathe mostly in and out through the nose. Right there when we did those deep breaths, I was exhaling through the mouth. But it's a good practice to breathe in and out through the nose as much as you're able to. All right, let's go ahead and just do a couple of nice shoulder rolls. Get that upper back and neck area a little bit loosened up. Just get those shoulders moving forward, up towards the ears. Squeeze them back and down. And then turn the head from side to side. And then bring that chin over to one shoulder and draw it down and across the chest, all the way over to that other shoulder or as far as you feel comfortable going, and then take it back. Just go back and forth with this little semicircle for the neck. Good. Bring that head back up onto the center, onto the top. Bring the hands in front of the heart, and let's do a little pull and push. And while this involves your arms, certainly, I also want it to get your torso, your spine moving. So I want you to, sort of stick the ribs, tilt the pelvis forward as the arms pull, and then round your back, maybe roll towards your buttocks as you push, pull, and push. Again, trying to get some of that spinal movement going. Good. All right, pull those arms back, drop them down, give the wrists a few circles, and go the other way. All right, now let's warm up the legs a little bit more. You can hold on to your chair if you want a little more stability, or the arms can just hang down at the sides. And we're going to march in that chair. Try to keep your spine straight up and down, so no rolling or leaning back if possible. Good, let's go up and out. And then back in, just to give us a little more movement for those hips. Up and out, and back in. Good. All right, now let's move it down to the knees. Let's take one leg and bend and straighten a few times. Good, and then switch sides, other leg, bend and straighten. Good. All right. Now let's go back to that first foot, the first leg. Pick up that foot and start circling. And now I want you to, pay close attention. I mean, I always want you to do that. That kind of goes without saying, but it always helps to say it as well. So pay attention, maybe with your eyes, also with just your awareness of the sensation and the movement in your foot, your ankle, your toes even. Go the other direction. Again, we're trying to just establish a better connection here. Kind of just, making that pathway to our foot and ankle just a little more clear. You could think of it like we're highlighting it, with like a highlighter for like you did back in school to make that pathway a little brighter. Let's switch to the other side. So that's where it helps to use your visual attention to, really notice what you're feeling as you move your foot and ankle. Making the circles slow is another good way to do that. Let's switch directions again. Good. All right, now bring that foot down. Both feet are down on the ground. We're going to do a little bit more with the feet, toes up, so you're on the heels, and then heels up. And again, I want you to just pay attention. Notice how it feels. Are your, right and left feet, do they feel about the same? Are there some differences? We'll do something similar to this once we get up and standing, and it'll certainly be more of a balance challenge then. All right, now here's a different movement we're going to try to make with the feet. You're going to see if you can pick up the inside, the big toe and the inside of your heel, and sort of roll more to the outer edge. All right. And then we're going to try and do that the other way, to pick up the outer edge of the feet, roll to the inside. Now, it'd be real easy to sort of do this with the legs, doing the work, but we want to try to isolate to the ankles. So put your hands on your knees and try to hold them steady and focus on doing this rolling in and out movement just down at your ankles and your feet. Now, you may find that pretty hard, right? It may be hard to keep your legs from moving, but do the best you can. Any effort of paying attention and isolating here, again, is going to help highlight that pathway, get you a little more tuned in to how to use the movements of the foot and ankle with more control. All right, so a couple more times, rolling in, rolling out. Again, trying not to let the knees move in and out. All right, relax. Now let's focus just on the toes a bit. So keep the ball of your foot down, but do the best you can to lift and spread your toes. Now, just as a reminder, you can always do this in shoes or socks and shoes. Do the movements the best you can with whatever you've got on your feet. All right, so just see if you can get some movement on your toes, spreading those toes out. And then see if you can curl the toes. So curl them into the ground or inside your sock, and then lift them out and spread them. Curl them. Spread. Curl. Spread. One more time. All right. Now, pick up those feet so that you're just on your heels. All right. Again, this is another one where we want to keep the knees still. So I'm on my heels and I'm swiveling. Swivel the feet out, swivel the feet in. Okay, so I'm not letting my knees go out and in, keeping them still as best I can and just moving sort of from the shin bone down to the feet. Good. All right, now pick up each foot again, one at a time, and just do a couple of circles. What's different? The sensation might be different. We just did a lot of different things with those feet. So probably as you do these circles and you switch directions, at least initially, there's a little bit different sensation there. Maybe more awareness. Maybe you feel the, effects of the things that you just did for the toes and whatnot. Circle the other foot a few times. Go the other direction. And release. Okay, now let's come on up to standing so we can really begin to work on some of these balance challenges. Now, there's a lot of different ways we could talk about balance. There's all kinds of things we might need to sort of balance in our physical or physiologic system. There's, the balance in your lifestyle between different types of activities. So balance can cover a lot of different things, and yoga has a lot to offer us in practicing that act of balancing. And we're going to specifically be working on just balancing in our physical body on our feet, right? Which is, as Margie mentioned, something that's real helpful to keep that system really well tuned as we get older. Helps prevent falls, keeps us more active, all of that kind of stuff. So you should have your chair in front of you or some other sturdy piece of furniture or even a wall so that you can use it whenever needed to touch. When we want to challenge our balance, we want to do something that's difficult enough for our system that we do have some wobble. We're not just standing absolutely, stock still with no perturbation, no movement, because then we're not really challenging our system. However, we also don't want to challenge ourselves so significantly that we actually lose our balance and fall over. So you got to figure out the right combination for you. So maybe that means you're holding on to the chair at times, and maybe at other times you're letting go, or maybe you're holding on with just a fingertip versus the whole hand. Those are some different ways that you can modify for your needs. All right, so let's start with going up on the tiptoes slowly, and then trying to rock back on the heels and lift up the fronts of the feet. We did this seated as a little warm up for the feet. Now we're trying to do it in standing, and there's definitely more challenge to the balance. So that one where we rock back on the heels, that one gets pretty challenging pretty quick, and you may have to just keep that hand near the chair or touch when you get to that part. So again, see what works for you. And about 3 more of these. All right, now go ahead and take one leg back. You can use your chair, or if it's not that close, you can just have your hands on your hips. You're going to take that one foot back and then lean forward. So we get a little stretch for that ankle. So again, I want you to keep paying attention to your feet especially. I want you to be noticing, just kind of your feet's contact with the ground, the feeling of it inside your shoe if you've got those on. Right? We want to just keep coming back to an awareness of those feet. All right, now let's try to come up. We're going to do a balance activity here in our lunge stance. All right, so you've got one foot forward with the knee bent, the other leg back. So first off, just see, is it okay for you to let go? Okay, so you're making a choice there. I'm letting go, or I'm holding with just a fingertip, or I've got my hands close but not touching, but you can touch whenever you need to, all right? And then the challenge here is going to involve turning the head. So as you start to turn the head, looking right and left, you may decide, I need to get my hands closer to the chair. Things start to get a little wobbly. Remember, we want to feel those feet moving a little bit. When we feel those feet kind of doing that rocking, then we know we're challenging our balance system. All right, let's try looking up and down. Now, when we move our head faster, it might get more challenging. Now, you can choose all throughout this, remember. All right, now let's switch feet. So pause, switch to the other leg back. We're just going to take a little stretch here at first so you can lean on that chair or have your hands on your hips as you lean forward and push that back heel down into the ground. All right, now for our balance work, bring the head and the shoulders a little more upright over the hips. Front knee is bent, back leg is straight. You're deciding, how much you're using the chair or how close you're keeping your hands. All right, and then we try to turn in the head. Remember, you can speed up if you want. Again, I'm looking to see that I've got at least a little bit of sort of movement wobble happening in my feet. So I know that I'm challenging my system to have to, improve that stabilization, to keep re-establishing balance. Let's look up and down. All right, and step it in. All right, now our next position is going to be feet all the way together. We call this tandem stance. So I want you to bring your feet as close together as you can. Now, everyone, may look a little different because maybe, the size of your shape of your knees means that your feet can't actually touch. So just come as close together as you can. Now, again, you might be having that chair in front of you or beside you or however you want to position so that you have that safety feature, right? But then you're going to challenge yourself appropriately so that you're going to end up with some wobble. All right. Now we're going to do the same thing here in tandem stance, turning the head right and left. That's going to be our first thing. Looking up and down. Now we're going to do one more thing here that we didn't do in the lunge. Bring the head still. Try closing your eyes. Now our vision gives us a lot of information about where we are in space and helps us keep our balance. So when we close our eyes, that's one way that we can challenge the other aspects of our balance system, like our muscular joint responsiveness. Now, if you find that you're not too challenged with eyes closed, you can close the eyes and turn the head. Now, you see I've got my hand close to the chair, or you can't see if your eyes are closed, but I've got my hand close to the chair so that I can grab it if I need to. I'm going to keep my eyes closed. I'm going to go up and down with my head. All right. Now, let's try a different stance. If at any point we move to a stance that's just a little too challenging for you, even with the holding, you can always stay with the one that was just right? So you could stay with whichever stance you feel like is a good challenge for you. So let's go now to step stance or tightrope stance, one foot in front of the other. Okay. So I've got one foot in front of the other. I'm just going to test that out. So that gets a little more challenging right away because the base of support is different. So again, you may end up needing to put a little touch on the chair as we try turning the head. Up and down. All right, and then head still. Try closing the eyes. All right, eyes open. Let's switch the feet. Other leg in front. Now, if this is challenging, more than you're comfortable with, you can take your step stance and be a little bit open, right? Not on the tightrope, just a little bit out to the side. So that's one way you could change this to suit your level. Okay. So let's give this other side a try, letting go perhaps. Remember, it might be that you keep one finger touching or more than that. Maybe try adding that turn of the head. Up and down. Paying attention to those feet. Do you feel them moving? Again, we want to challenge enough that we get some movement there. All right, now let's try closing the eyes. All right, eyes open. Now let's use the chair for just a little stretch before we do a little bit more for our balance. So hands on the top of the chair, walk back with those feet, press back with the hips, get a nice stretch out for the arms and the spine and the legs. This is one of my favorite stretches to do. Sometimes I use a chair, sometimes I put my hand on the wall. Sometimes I do it, hands on the car when we're traveling and I want to stretch a little bit when we stop. 2 more breaths here. All right, come on back in. Let's work now on some single leg stance. This is progressively more challenging, these positions that I'm choosing. We went from our long lunge step to feet together to tightrope stance. Now we're going to one leg at a time. All right, so here's some choices. I'm going to stand on my left leg, but I'm going to pick my right foot and put those toes just right on the ground, right? So my tiptoe is touching, and I've got my heel just propped up on the inside of my standing leg. So that's one way to start, right? Especially if it's pretty challenging to stand, completely on one leg by itself. So you could start right there, or you could try to bring that foot up higher so that it's no longer touching the ground, right? You may recognize this as tree pose from yoga, a classic balance pose. Now try and hug the hips in, kind of squeezing, tucking in the buttocks a little bit to help you stand a little taller. Now you can let go. If your eyes are focused on one spot in front of you, that's going to generally help with your balance. But again, if you found yourself, pretty stable in this position and you wanted more challenge, you could move the eyes and or the head a bit to see what that does to, your stability here. Does it give your body a little more challenge? Is that challenge appropriate for you, or is standing on the one leg enough of a challenge? Another option with tree pose, if you're not holding on, is to see what happens when you raise the arms or you spread the arms out to the side. May is making me wobble today, so it's okay if I, drop down and touch the chair and then I come back to it. Don't forget to breathe. What do you notice about those feet? All right, let's bring that down. Let's try to take this to the other side. All right, so again, I'm standing on my right leg. I could start with my left toes touching the ground. So I got my left tip toes on the floor and my heel on the inside of my right calf. All right, could stay there or try to bring that foot all the way off the ground, a little higher. And then maybe experiment with letting go. Hug those hips in. Let's try to stand even taller. Maybe you get those eyes focused on a point, or maybe you're giving yourself that little additional challenge of turning the head or looking a little bit around the room. Arms can extend if you want to do a little reach. Usually one side is easier to balance. Maybe you're noticing that. I notice that my right side is a little more steady than my left. All right, and bring that down. Maybe take a little walk in place. All right, now we're going to take one more time to stretch, and then we're going to use this position actually to help us do one more balance challenge that's a little bit different, sort of balancing when our torso and head are a little more horizontal versus standing straight up. So you can stay right here on the back of the chair, maybe get a little closer. And I'm going to just lift one leg up. I'm going to lean forward over the chair as much as feels comfortable. And then I'm going to start with just my opposite arms. I've got my right leg lifted back behind. So I'm going to see if I can take my left hand off the chair. And then maybe I'll even go down to just touching the chair with my right fingertip. Or maybe take that right hand off altogether. So this may be our most challenging one yet, standing on the one leg and trying to sort of fly with the rest of the body. Do what you can. Remember, whatever is the challenge for you is the right variation. All right, let's see if we can do that a bit the other leg. So we'll take that left leg up now, lean forward over the chair. I'm going to start with the right arm coming off. And then see what it's like to maybe go down to the left fingertips. Or the left arm off also. And then bring both hands back to the chair. Take that stretch back one more time. And then it's almost time for our session today. So let's come back around to seated and just do a quick stretch for those hips, because we do, while I focused on the feet and ankles, we're also using a good bit of the muscles in our hips and our torso. So let's try crossing one ankle up to the knee, or it could be a cross to the shin or the ankle. And then sitting up tall, leaning into that stretch just a little bit. And release that. Let's go to the other side. Cross the ankle to the other leg, maybe down on the shin or up above the knee. Sit tall, lean into that. Good. And then release. Take just a moment to sit back in the chair. Let's finish with a couple deep breaths like we started. Inhale and reach those arms up. Exhale. Feel that, solid position in the chair. No challenge for the balance here. One more breath. And then just let those hands rest in your lap. Thank you so much to AARP of Alabama for giving us this chance to work together. I hope you enjoyed that little bit of work on your balance systems. And we often ask you for your feedback. So you're probably going to get an email from us asking you to fill out a quick survey. Let us know what you like about the Mindful Movement series and any requests that you may have from us. We hope you'll keep joining us on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. for our Mindful Movement series. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so very much, Becca. And thanks to everyone who joined us this morning. And we look forward to you joining us again and hearing your feedback. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye, Margie.